Right, we take you back to one of the big stories on our watch this morning, and that is the special provincial funeral official of the service, that is the service underway for internationally acclaimed Xhosa music icon Dr. Latozi Madosini Mpahleni. The funeral service is taking place at Mkhankatho Village in Libode in the Eastern Cape. Madosini died last month at the age of 79 after battling an illness for a long time. She is best known for playing indigenous instruments such as Uhadi, Umrhubhe, as well as Isitolotolo. President Cyril Ramaphosa has declared that the national flag will fly at half-mast at every flag station in the Eastern Cape on the day of the funeral as a sign of respect to her. Now, SABC News reporter Ntsiki Nohiya and video journalist Lwandi Mbulali are covering the story. We take you there live now.
Masibambe ngasibini mxolisi apho estudio sisaqhuba nokungcwabo kaGqirha Latozi Madosini Mphaleni apha eMkhankatho eLibode eMpuma Kapa phansi kwamasipala iNyandeni umasipala ombaxa iOR Tambo District Municipality. Ngethuba ke mxo besithetha noLebu earlier on besisekunye nomsaki. The reason ndithela nawe ngesixhosa kukubana uDr Latozi bengumuntu ozingcayo ngolwimi lwakhe kangangoba siyeva ngosapho into kokubana uthe kungabikho kwamuntu ozawuthetha ulwimi lwasemzini phezu kwebhokisi yakhe, kodwa ke siyazama ukuzixuba sizivanga ukulungisela abo bangaluchani ncam olulwimi lwesiXhosa. Ukanti ke ngoku we're going to finish up our interview with Msaki. Msaki is a music legend as well in this indigenous kind of music. I'll call her a legend because she's singing a music that is traditionally for elderly people. Msaki started singing in 2013. She's a songwriter and a composer, Afro-folk to electronic kind of music that she produces. And she has a song in each and every genre that you can think of in South African music. Now, she's going to wrap up the interview with us. She was telling me about her contribution in raising funds for building the home of Mama Madosini. Msaki, you were talking to me about your role in building her this beautiful home that we see behind us.
I was actually trying to explain about Umkhankatho Madosini has enjoyed the support and friendship of a very wide music community based in Cape Town, all over South Africa and abroad. Now, I was just a person who was spreading the message, but this was a wish in collaboration with the family. So that project is underway. Luckily, you know, we've started, there's a lot of progress. It's been difficult, but the things that Umkhankatho Madosini wanted were very simple. More than the shelter that she deserved, that she asked for. And the foundation, as you hear from Oputami, is really just focused on getting those wishes over the line for her. This place to be a hub of indigenous music. Those are things that are well attainable for a legacy that has been so rich. That can really change the reality of even Lelali. So we are here to support the foundation, and I'd love for you to hear more from Oputami.
Thank you so much, Msage. You will hear more about what Msage said about the legend because she has to rush back to the tent. She's in the program. But speaking about the foundation, there is Mr. Thamsanqa Songabe, who is a founder member of Dr. Latozi Madosini Mpahleni Legal Foundation. He's here now to talk about that. Mr. Songabe, earlier on you were speaking to my colleague Nomzwanele, and you spoke about your relations and how your relationship came about with Dr. Latozi Madosini. But now you're going to speak about the foundation. How did it all start?
The foundation started as specifically to focus on a number of issues. But one of them is the fact that Madosini's legacy starts with her persona. As a person, the values that she lived for, and the fact that she grew up and be able to break the barriers. She was illiterate according to the Western standards, but she broke all these barriers. She worked with people across the world with no limitations. Even being unable to speak English. So that on its own is a legacy that one can actually derive something from. Another thing is the fact that she was actually a limping person, a person who's living with disability, but all that didn't deter her from becoming the person she is. The values that she lived for as an indigenous are the things that own and reduce other people. But another thing that to
Okay, it seems like we are having a bit of an issue there with the pictures. As you can see there on the ground, that is Ntsiki Nohiya out for us watching that funeral. We're having a bit of technical difficulties with that line there. We will endeavor to make sure that we're bringing up for you to ensure that the conversations continue there. But I can tell you for a fact that some of those conversations coming out there with Ntsiki Nohiya continue to be in the form of tributes. I mean, since the news broke of Madosini's passing, we've heard how various artists have come onto the platform as well to pay tribute to her, and SABC News does continue to, of course, bring you coverage around this particular story. And as, of course, we've heard Ntsiki there speaking to the foundation chair, as well as Msagi, who is a fellow musician. Msagi spoke at length about how Madosini did not only play an artist role, but was also a nurturing figure. These are some of the conversations that have been happening since the news of her passing actually broke this past month. And she is known for playing indigenous instruments such as Uhadi, Umrhubhe, as well as Isitolotolo. She is a person who held the Xhosa culture as well as the music in high regard by making sure that she puts it on the global stage. We'll endeavor to bring you that line as and when it's up, as we continue to also bring you rolling coverage around the proceedings that are happening there with our reporters on the ground. You are still tuned on to the agenda. It seems like we might have the line back. Let's see there. Ntsiki, it seems like we might have you back. So you are still continuing there with some of the conversations that are happening around the foundation of the late musician and what these foundations are expected to do, carrying the baton forward.
Yes, Mko, I have Butami back. They call him Butami here in the family. We're going to continue with our conversation on foundation and how it came about before I let him go, because he is in the program. He is coming on stage on the floor just after the speaker that is currently on the podium. Butami, you were still talking to us about the foundation, how it came about, and most importantly, what is going on now in the foundation? Who is supporting you? Are you getting any support, if I may ask?
As I said, the foundation was formed with the purpose of making sure that Madosini's legacy is carried on and on forever, if I were to put it that way. We started with a building project, where we wanted Madosini to be built a home. Of course, there were people who have already started making fundraising, but there was no progress that much. But we decided as a foundation to coordinate all that. The building project is sought to make sure that the house that is built will actually turn into an institution for indigenous African music that Madosini lived for and wanted it to be maintained or be kept even if she's not living. The other objective of the foundation is to actually make sure that there is a museum of gallery where there's a skills transfer, where even artists from other places who are actually proficient in the instruments that Madosini played are able to share their skills and let people learn from them. And we also wanted to make sure that the awards that Madosini got are actually displayed there and are kept there. And the other point is also to make sure that there's collaboration with other musicians, other people, other indigenous musicians. that must also form part of the foundation. And also looking at the beneficiation, Madosini has a lot of work. Yeah, album is only one that is on the market. What about other music? How can it be how can we more make sure that there's beneficiation through that music, and then we raise funds that must make sure that the organization grows and grows. But I want to say it is an objective that even if Dr. Madosini has passed on, we'll make sure that it lives.
Mr. Songabe, I'll have to let you go because I understand you are speaking after the speaker that is currently on the podium. Thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you very much.
There you have it, Mkho. Xa ndishwankathela ngesiXhosa kuba kaloku siyamazi ugqirha Madosini Latozi Mpahleni into yokokubana ube ngumntu osithandayo isintu, ube ngumntu wesintu, ube ngumntu wenkcubeko. So nathi kunyanzelekile into yokokubana siyigcine loo nto leyo iqhubeke. Ethetha ke ubhuthami ngento yokubana ifoundation lena izawunceda abantwana abasakhulayo, izawunceda abantu abanomdla ekulandeleni ikhondo lakhe kwezomculo womnqonqo, Umrhubhe, Uhadi, Isitolotolo nezinye intlobo zemculo yakwantu besebenzisa izixhobo zesintu. On that note, I was just summing up the the interview in English in isiXhosa just to accommodate and make sure myself as a journalist that her legacy lives on. Back to you in studio, Mkhankatho.
Ntsiki Nohiya is out there for us, and of course just speaking at length of how passionate this artist was about not just her music but ensuring that she also empowers the people that listen to her music. Now Ntsiki, as you continue there watching proceedings for us, I know that music was her first language, music was her love language to her fans as well as people that enjoyed her music. Talk to us about some of the tributes that are also coming in the form of music there throughout the proceedings.
A lot of them. The only person who's not here is Thandiswa Mazwai. We've been informed by the family that she is no longer going to be able to make it. But we do have Mamulu Sandamcinga. Mamulu Sandamcinga is a traditional religious music legend here in the Eastern Cape, and we do have a little girl, a 12-year-old girl who was taught by Dr. Latozi Madosini, and she will be joining us, by the way, and show us how she's done it and how she was located or discovered by Dr. Latozi Madosini. We do have Msaki, whom I was just speaking to a moment ago. She is also a singer, a traditional indigenous singer. They here, and also her groups. Remember, she formed two groups. The Amadlomo, a traditional group, and Mkhankatho traditional group. They are both here. They took the stage just before all the speakers, before the official program took off the ground. So there's a lot of support for her. They're speaking fondly about her. They love her. Msaki, when I started speaking to her, she was in tears, saying that she lost a mother, she lost a grandmother, she lost somebody that she's always looking up to growing up, because she only started singing this kind of music in 2013. And it's Dr. Latozi Madosini who inspired her, by the way.
All right, thank you for those conversations there. Ntsiki Nohiya, SABC News reporter out there on the pulse of that story for us. We'll no doubt be touching base with you a bit later on.